What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if games should be announced super close to when they release or super far away from when they release. So, kind of a conversational topic, but one that I feel has always been talked about. And as the eras have gone, and as we're into this one right now, it's an interesting topic because you have these games announced years and years and years before they're released, and you have them being done that way through either trailer or just pure announcement. We had an example really of both. You could look at a game like Star Wars Eclipse, or maybe even like a Wonder Woman game, right, from Monolith, where, you know, you announce it very, very early. These are just literally a couple that come to mind. There are plenty of them. But, you know, you announce them and you show some sort of trailer to them. You actually show a full-length trailer. Well, full length, I guess, is debatable, right? Sometimes it's more of a teaser, but you actually show something on the screen. Versus, you know, when you announce something like, let's say, Max Payne, the Max Payne remake, and again, there's plenty other examples of them doing this as well, where you announce the game simply that it's happening. The game is real. They're in like the earliest of early, you know, of conception stages. Another actual very recent example, right, would be pretty much all of the stuff that CD Projekt Red did. They gave us a roadmap. I mean, it's going to take 10-ish years to get through all of it. Cyberpunk sequel, Witcher, not only a new Witcher game that probably won't come out for at least 3 to 4 years, but then after that, 2 more games that release 3 years after, and then 3 years after. And so there's all different kinds of ways of handling it. Honestly, I've always kind of stood by whatever works best for like the publisher's plan. Sometimes games are announced rather early, and I know some people really like the CD Projekt Red announcements, or maybe even like a Star Wars Eclipse announcement, because it's basically designed to say, hey, we're making this game, we got next to nothing, come join our team and help us make said game. And that, from people inside the industry, they seem to like that mentality more than others. I think when it comes to actual just gamers who watch this stuff, I don't know. I think we've kind of entered an era of people being pretty tired about hearing about a game that is 10 years away. However, the difference between announcing it, saying it's happening, but giving like no details, versus announcing it with a trailer, maybe making it seem like it's going to come out earlier, and then also there is still nothing there, that I think is worse. And so again, it's a kind of, honestly, to go back to those first two, Star Wars Eclipse and Wonder Woman, Star Wars Eclipse really was used as, hey, we're making this game, we have nothing, we have literally nothing, it's not even the next game we're making, you know, as a studio, but we want to do it, and so here's some pretty visuals, come work for us. I don't know how well that goes over with people. I think the answer is not well, because you look at the trailer and you say, cool, Quantic Dream, and then, oh, well, it's not going to come out for like 5-6 years. Well, why even show the trailer? Wonder Woman is in a slight weird spot because we don't know, right, when the game's coming out, but it would be the same thing. If you show that quick teaser, oh my God, you get everybody so excited, and you showed it. You literally showed her character model, and then the game comes out 5 years later. That, I think, and it's always been this way. I mean, we've talked about it before with like a Sony or Microsoft or even Nintendo. They like to announce games years and years and years, and they kind of like build it up as the years go on, right? I looked at The Last of Us Part 2. It's announced a long time before it comes out, but every year, almost like clockwork, you just get a little bit more from it. So they keep it going. They keep that kind of a hype train on the rails, and that's kind of the difference. To me, that's kind of the difference. You know, if you're going to show visuals, okay, if you're going to show like an actual trailer, you have to do it, in my opinion, like a Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, where you come back to it every so often. If you don't come back to it for, and I don't even know, and that's the thing, for what, for how long of time, I would say yearly. You have to show it yearly in order to make my quota, where that means you're coming back. That means the game is still kind of ongoing. If you do a Star Wars Eclipse, and maybe it's just a point of my life as well, where, you know, I see Star Wars Eclipse, I'm excited, you know, I want the game, I want to see what they can do with a Star Wars game, but it's like, I don't know what any of my life is going to be like in 5 years. That's so long. So I'm not even going to, like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not talking about it. I mean, you know, you bring it up in videos here and there, but that's really all you do, because there's nothing else to talk about, and, you know, it's not even worth it because it's so far away. Who knows where the industry is even in 5 years? Who knows if the studios are even still around in 5? I mean, so many things, honestly, can happen in a snap of the fingers. Who knows 5 years from now? So that's kind of where I am, where if you show a game, you got to come back to it at least yearly to make it okay, to my subjective opinion, okay. Now, as for the Cyberpunk, like or the CG Projekt Red, Cyberpunk being one of them, but the CD Projekt Red stuff in general, or Max Payne being an example, that one's tough. I guess I'm okay with those in the sense that I can understand what the individuals in the gaming industry are talking about, where, look, they're just letting you know it's happening. They're not really promising anything, promising like very specific. They're not going to show it to you on screen so you have like a reference point. They're just saying it's going to happen, right? So they tell you that. So us as consumers, I mean, we know in the next 10 years we'll get a Witcher trilogy and a new Cyberpunk game. I mean, it's useful information, I guess, to know, but because they don't show us anything, you don't have to get it's almost like they're trying to stop the hype while also getting you hyped. They want you hyped to know what's coming, but they're not going to go all the way because they're not going to show you a trailer yet because it's not even remotely close. Max Payne, these kind of examples where it's like, okay, cool, it's coming, but really that's as far as your excitement will take it because there's nothing else there. So it's tough. I mean, I've honestly thought of what would be kind of like the best of all worlds, or or not even that, what is the best way of doing it. And it does depend. It really does. I mean, yes, would I like a world where you announce your game and then you released it like 3 to 6 months, maybe a year max later? I mean, that's pretty cool, and especially because you can kind of get everything out in that year. You announce it, and then just that build up to release in 1 calendar year, or just, I guess, 12 months, because it doesn't have to be in the year you announce it, is quite something, and it can really be useful. But, again, for like a Sony, that's not the idea. You need people to know about it years in advance because you're trying to sell the console. Or some of these companies are trying to get investments, or they're trying to get people to come into the company, and so they have to talk about what they're working on. And so I get it. I get that. And also, if we didn't know any game until like 12 months before it came out or less, I think there'd just be a lot less to talk about in general on the internet, right? Because a lot of, like, BioShock, like, we know BioShock is happening. We haven't seen it yet. We've known about that for like 2 years. Now, is that a good thing? I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the time that we see it, but we haven't seen it yet. So again, my excitement only goes so far. So it's tough. It's tough. I think from consuming, like literally we consume these products from that standpoint, I'd like everything to be within 12 months. So you announce it and it should come out 12 months later. That is not a perfect world though, because of the other things, because you have to get people hyped about your product, or you have to get people hyped about your console that you're selling, or you have to get employees. And if nobody knows what you're making, and nobody will know until 7 months before the game comes out, how are you supposed to get people to work with you? Now, yeah, maybe people are just desperate. They just want the job, and so they apply. But if you know, oh, this studio is making this game, I would like to make that game, well, maybe you're more willing to send in your application, right? So it's tough. It's a tough middle ground where you can't really have it the full way of either, because you'll ruin it for the other side. So, you have to kind of blend it in the middle, and that's what ends up happening. You have some that announce it within a year, you have some that announce it 5 years ahead of time, but they come back every year and they show new stuff every single year. And then you have some games that get announced and get completely forgotten about until like a Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? We can go to Ubisoft probably for many examples, but Beyond Good and Evil 2, you announce it, and 7 years later, we find out, oh, it's making okay progress. Well, you showed the trailer I think it was actually longer than that, and nothing's happened since then. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know this was a pretty different kind of video. The news is non-existent this entire week. There's been absolutely nothing. So once there is news, I mean, I'll obviously cover it on both the channels. But until then, some of these fun discussion videos. Let me know what you think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.